What's happening, YouTube? Jonathan Pariente, the Education 10 here, coming at you guys with another video. Want to ask you guys to please continue to check and subscribe to my channel for more YouTube videos. And well, Week 4 is now about to begin in the NFL. A very wild week we're looking forward to. We've already had a very exciting Thursday night game to kick off the week, and finally one of the better Thursday night games we've seen this season. Green Bay Packers took on the Philadelphia Eagles, and in an epic finish, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated Green Bay, handing them their first loss of the year, winning 34-27. And it was Carson Wentz who had 160 yards, threw for 3 touchdown passes, and didn't really make too many throws, but Jordan Howard had a big game with 2 touchdowns, running for 87 yards, and he had a receiving touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, in the meantime, threw for 422 yards, but through a crucial interception at the end of the game. The Packers would have tied it from the 6-yard line, but it got intercepted, and the Philadelphia Eagles held on to beat Green Bay for their very first loss of the year. So now we kind of wonder how things will shape up as we go into the 4th week of the NFL. And there have been a lot of, there have been some more stories coming out now. Antonio Brown has changed his mind. Now he wants to play again, and, well, sorry, Antonio Brown, I think you did more damage than you think you did. You've already done more damage than you're worth right now. So if you want to take jabs at Eric Weddle and take jabs at Baker Mayfield, be my guest. But they're playing the NFL, and you're not. Period. So we'll see where this goes for the rest of the NFL right now. And really where the rest of these games are going to head is we now have hit the quarter mark of the season. It's really hard to believe how quickly the NFL season just flies like that. 2 teams are on bye weeks this week. The Jets and the San Francisco 49ers both are off for this one. So this is where the bye weeks now begin to come into effect in the NFL. And sometimes, as we've seen in history, they can help teams. Week, but it wasn't their best game. So the way I look at this, Atlanta in their place is impossible to win over there, and particularly if Matt Ryan is going, the Tennessee Titans are in big trouble. So my prediction, Tennessee's going to lose this game, I think pretty soundly. Atlanta will win 34-10. Matt Ryan will throw for 3 touchdowns, and Julio Jones will have over 120 yards with 2 touchdowns. I think that's a fair point to put that at. On to our next game. Kansas City and Detroit at Ford Field. Matt Stafford, Patrick Mahomes. Now, Mahomes got tested a bit against the Ravens last week in Arrowhead. What Lamar Jackson did show to the world a week ago was he could hang with some of the best quarterbacks in the game, despite maybe not being the most accurate of throwers. But now you're facing Stafford. The Lions are 2-0 this year. They had one draw. They could have easily been 3-0 right now. But this will be kind of a bit of a trap game if you're Kansas City. You have to not take the Lions light. Matt Stafford can bring the ball down the field. He's a great passer. You have some good weapons he can throw to. You have Kerryon Johnson. You have Kenny Golladay. You have Hawkinson. You have some good weaponry around there. But, of course, if you're Kansas City, you like their chances. And I think Kansas City is well equipped to play on the road, despite being at the disadvantage of being the road team. But Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. You got Kelsey. You still have Watkins to throw to. You still have Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy. You have enough weaponry if you are the Chiefs that you shouldn't allow the Lions to run all over this game. This will be a high-scoring game, though. No matter how you put it, this is going to be a lot of high-scoring for both teams. But I predict the Chiefs are going to get this game done. They will win, beat the Lions 38-25. Patrick Mahomes will throw for another 4 touchdown passes. On to our next game, Carolina, Houston. Well, Carolina is 1-2. They started Kyle Allen this past week. Looked very impressive for his first performance. Will he be the guy going forward? I think not. This is still Cam's team, if you ask me. The Texans, though, are coming off a nice win of their own, and Deshaun Watson can certainly move the ball around better than any quarterback you'll see. And as long as they have DeAndre Hopkins and Watson playing, the Texans are flat out unstoppable. And being that this game will be in Houston, I can't see the Texans coming up short in this one. I say the Texans will find a way to beat Carolina. It will be a couple possessions, but Houston will win the game 24-17. And Deshaun Watson will run for a touchdown to end the game and allow Houston to go 3-1. Moving on to the next match. It'll be in Indy. It's Oakland and Indianapolis. Well, Derek Carr against Jacoby Brissett. And if you take away week 1, Derek Carr has sort of been going back to the old Derek Carr from last year when he couldn't find receivers down the field. He kept throwing interceptions. And you get a little worried. 1-2, you feel like this is kind of a make-or-break game for Oakland and for John Gruden. Even though Jacoby Brissett may not be the ideal quarterback that you thought the Colts were going to have this year, you figured Andrew Luck, this would have been a runaway. But the way you have to look at it now, can the Raiders win a big game on the road, particularly at the quarter mark of the year? Well, Derek Carr is going to have to play the game of his life because Minnesota just flat walloped the Raiders last week. And Indianapolis is not going to make this an easy game. Brissett can still move the ball around. You have Marlon Mack. You have T.Y. Hilton who can get the ball down to Ebron's a good receiver. So you have to think Oakland's going to have to make a few defensive plays to stop this Colt team. So, but I'm pulling for the upset. I think Derek Carr will find a way to win a big road game here, as the Raiders will win this game. It'll be 24-21. Derek Carr will throw for 2 important touchdown passes late, which will decide the game at the end. Next, we go on to Miami, Florida. The Los Angeles Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. Well, I guess, can we say this game will probably be no contest? I think so. Phillip Rivers against, well, is it going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick? It's probably going to be Josh Rosen again. And, well, Miami Dolphins have just been a complete disaster from the start of the year. And against a team like the Chargers, who are going to get Melvin Gordon back soon, that's pretty scary. I don't see the Chargers. Losing this game at all. I think this is going to be quite the perfect example of a runaway game. The Chargers will blow away the Dolphins in Miami. I'm going to say 28-3. Rivers will throw for 3 touchdown passes, and the rest of that will be a no contest. On to the Giants and Redskins. It'll be at the Meadowlands, and, well, the Giants are coming off a very emotional victory last week over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They looked out of it early. They were down 28-10. Everybody thought the Giants were dead. But in came Daniel Jones to the rescue, and in his first ever NFL game, he threw for over 300 yards and ran in a game-winning touchdown on a 4th down and goal. And really, well, the Giants won thanks to a missed field goal that easily the Buccaneers could have won the game had they made it from 34 yards out. But the Giants are looking to go to 2-2, and I think they will. The Redskins just are not, they're not really impressing anybody in the NFC East, and right now, Case Keenum is just playing damage control at this very moment. So I just do not see, the Redskins winning this game at all. So my prediction, Redskins will get pounded by the Giants. So this is actually one of the games the Giant defense actually shows up. Giants will win 30-13. And I think Daniel Jones will throw for another 2 touchdown passes and throw for about another 250 yards. On to the Rams and the Buccaneers. Skipped one. Seattle and Arizona. Kyler Murray against Russell Wilson. First time we're going to see Kyler Murray taking on Russell Wilson, 2 big running quarterbacks, both of whom that really like to move the ball around. Seahawks were coming off a rough loss to the Saints. They rallied back, though, to make that game close. But you're taking on an Arizona team that's still winless, and, Kyler Murray's really going to, even though it's in Arizona, Kyler Murray's really getting thrown into the deep end when you're taking on a team like Seattle, and they're, with Russell Wilson, a seasoned veteran, and with good offense around him, Kyler Murray's going to have to really match Russell pound for pound if he's going to have any chance. And I don't see Arizona having that chance at all. Seattle's going to win this game on the road, I think, pretty easily. I'm going to say 21-10. It'll be a low-scoring game, but 21-10. Seattle will do enough to win. Will Disley will have a touchdown. Russell Wilson will run for 1, and I think the rest of this game will be no contest at all. On to our afternoon game, 4 o'clock game for the first one. Tampa Bay and the Los Angeles Rams. And, well, if you're Jameis Winston, you really had your heart ripped out of you yesterday with your kicker missing what could have been the game-winning field goal. And, Jameis Winston did really nothing wrong to lose that game. And, just the kicker did not come up with the big play when you needed him to. And that's how sometimes games are decided. And I predict that this will carry over to the next week for Tampa Bay. If that was a game they didn't want to lose, it was last week. They would have been 2-1 is a big difference from going 1-2. And the Rams are undefeated, and they're really kind of firing on all cylinders right now. The scary part is Todd Gurley, if you're the Rams, hasn't even gotten going yet. But Jared Goff can still throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. And when Gurley gets going, the Rams are even more dangerous. So I predict this will finally be the game if you're the Rams, and I think Gurley will go off. And while the Buccaneers don't allow a lot of rushing touchdowns this year, I think this is going to be one game where the Rams might want to try experimenting with the running defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I predict the Rams will win this game. This will be a really good counterpunch game. I predict it'll go Rams 34, the Buccaneers 27. Jameis Winston will throw 1 costly interception late that will cost Tampa Bay the game. Next game, Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver Broncos, Gardner Minshew II going up against Joe Flacco. Well, the Broncos have already had a couple tough losses dealt to them already. Losing that game to the Bears was a killer, and right now they're 0-3 because of that. And, well, you kind of always wonder with Jacksonville, when are they ever going to show you what type of team they could be? They always have had a good defense, but the offense could never move the ball, and Leonard Fournette can only do so much. And, while Gardner Minshew is really winning people in Jacksonville with his mustache and his comparisons to celebrities or whatever you want to call them, at the end of the day, you got to win a game. And I don't see Jacksonville winning a game on this one. I think Denver's finally going to get off the schneid and get their first win of the year in pretty trouncing fashion. I think Flacco will finally go off in this game where he'll go back to the Flacco that won the Super Bowl for the Ravens a couple years ago. The Broncos will win this game 24-20. I think Flacco will throw the big touchdown pass. Phillip Lindsay will have a huge rushing touchdown that will end up deciding the game. On to our next game. On to our next exciting game of the week. It's the Sunday night game, the Dallas Cowboys against the New Orleans Saints. Well, this should be a very, very exciting game. It's in the confines of the Metrodome in New Orleans, a loud place to play. Oh, excuse me, not the Metrodome, the Superdome, excuse me. I get it mixed up with the Metrodome in Minnesota. So, Dak Prescott against Teddy Bridgewater. We're not going to see Breeze yet. But to tell you the truth, the Saints did pretty good without him. The Saints were able to take it to the Seahawks with Bridgewater. And Bridgewater's a very good seasoned quarterback, so I can't deny that. But now here's where you have a little trouble. You are playing Dallas, and their offense so far in the first 3 weeks has looked incredible. And if Dak Prescott can continue to move the ball around, I think the Saints are going to have a very long game on defense. And while Bridgewater will make this a close game, there's only so much Bridgewater, Alvin Kamara, and the rest of the Saints offense can do. If their defense can't stop Dak Prescott, the Cowboys are going to romp all over the Saints. So I'm predicting the road team will come away with an impressive victory here. I think the Cowboys will stay undefeated. They'll win 30-23. It will be Dak Prescott throwing for 270 yards. Ezekiel Elliott will have a big touchdown in this game. Going back to one of our other 1 o'clock games that I missed, the Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens, Baker Mayfield against Lamar Jackson. Well, it's put up or shut up time for Cleveland. They lost a very bad game last week to Baltimore in Cleveland. The Ravens literally just ran all over that. The Ravens, I'm sorry. The Ravens played the Chiefs last week, excuse me. I'm sorry. It was the Rams, excuse me. The Rams did that licking all over the Ravens. And for them to go into Cleveland and beat the Browns, that tells you a lot of things about how good the Rams are. So, if you're the Ravens, this is, again, a put-up or shut-up game when you're playing a team in your own division. And, you know, the Browns all year had talked about how much better have improved the team. A lot of media outlets were talking about how well the Browns have improved. Well, I want to see how they've improved when they take on the likes of the Ravens. Their defense can shut down almost anyone, and Lamar Jackson, if he gets space to run, the Browns better look out. Because Myles Garrett can only tackle quarterbacks how many times, and Baker Mayfield still has a lot of kinks to work out with his play. He can move the ball around in the pocket. That's not an issue. But he cannot throw the ball when he has to scramble out of the pocket. And that's where you play right into the hands of the Baltimore Raven defense. So I predict the Ravens are going to continue their winning ways. They will beat the Browns, and the Browns will drop to 1-3. And this is going to be big to see how the Browns will respond. The Ravens will punish the Brown offense. I think the Ravens are going to hold the Browns to, I think, just only 1 touchdown. My prediction, Ravens will win 30-10. Call me crazy. 30-10. I think this will be one of the worst games in the career of Baker Mayfield. He will throw he'll throw 3 interceptions, and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens will just run all over the Browns defense. And that finally brings us to the Monday night game, a battle of 2 winless teams. Well, how appropriate for a Monday night game in this regard. The Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers don't have Big Ben. It's Mason Rudolph and Andy Dalton, and right now Mason Rudolph is still kind of going through the development of becoming an NFL quarterback. Really got thrown into this kind of unexpectedly because Big Ben went down. You can't really do anything about it. And even without A.J. Green, I just don't think Andy Dalton is going to lose another game, at least for this one. I say Andy Dalton is going to actually find a way to come into Heinz Field and beat the Steelers. So my prediction, the Bengals will win this game. It'll be an okay game, but 27-17 is where I see the Bengals in this game. Andy Dalton will throw for 270 yards. John Ross will have a big touchdown late. Mixon will run in for 1, and Smith-Schuster will do what he can, but the Steelers are just not the same team without Big Ben. They just are not. So that's about how we're going to end this one. So that's week 4 for my predictions in the NFL, and we'll see who comes out of it on top. Jonathan Perriente, The Education 10, saying bye for now.